You know, most of you guys out there that watch me show up because you want to create wealth for you and your family. You want to invest money in real estate because you love real estate or the thought of cash flow, future appreciation, the tax benefits, all that. But I wanted to come to you guys because I want you guys, number one, I want you guys to start thinking like an insider, right? Institutional investors like banks, insurance companies, life insurance companies, they're all investors. They're sitting at a table talking to a guy like myself who knows the market, right? So if you're going to think like an inside investor, there's a couple of things you're going to do. Number one, we're going to be doing a special call for people that have $300,000 or more that are interested in investing with us. And we're going to have that. So it's going to be an insider call, but I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that we're going to go over on that call. So, number one thing, if you're going to think like an institution and you're going to be an insider, number one, you want to understand markets, right? What is the market actually doing? So, you're going to need a market update, which is what we do. I go into detail on what's happening with the market, what's going on with interest rates, debt, financing. What am I seeing out there? I talk to brokers all the time, either every day or every other day. I looked at a $30 million deal the other day, an $80 million portfolio, a $180 million portfolio, and another $70 million transaction that just closed, but we saw it before it closed. We didn't bid on the deal. That's a market update. You need to know that. What's going on? Aside from what you see in the news, that's why I love real estate, guys. Because real estate, you can be an insider. If you have the same information that you get, like by being on a call, if you were stocks, that's called insider trading. You guys will all go to prison, right? But not with real estate. That's why I like this better. So, the one thing that we go over is we do a market update. What's happening out there? What am I seeing? Next, we go over the deals, right? Big thing about the deals is I can look at a ton of deals, but why this deal? Why did I like this deal over this deal? Why this location is better versus this location? If you're an insider and you're thinking like an institutional investor, even though you're considered to the big guys and the elites and the wealthy, you're called a retail investor. Matter of fact, most institutional investors won't put money with a guy like me that has a fund with retail investors because they see that like herding cats, quote unquote. They don't want to deal with it. But as an insider, you want to know which deals are good. I look at the same deals as institutional investors look at. Matter of fact, one of the deals we just looked at is owned by an institutional investor. They have 50,000 apartment units across the United States. They're on the top multifamily owners in the nation. They're on the top 50 list. So I'm looking at the same deals that they have as a regular guy, and I'm opening it up to you guys, but you got to know which deals to look at and what not to look at. That's what we go over on these calls all the time. So when you understand one, the market, what's happening, number two, why this deal? Why not this deal? What do you know about this deal that you saw trade that it's going to sell again? That we didn't like about it, or we weren't going to go after about it, or there was like 50 people on it all cash, so there was no need to get involved in it, but let's just watch it, right? Like you have to be on those calls to be able to do that. And then aside from just knowing the deals, how do you make sense of the money? You have to make sense of the actual investment in the deal, right? We may be looking at a deal that like the one deal that we looked at. They wanted $180 million for this deal. I love the property. I think $180 million is a great price for the property because that deal won't come around again for another 7 years. But if we need to make sense of putting our money together and parking our money for 7 years, what is the returns on that money? Right? There's other opportunities that are going to come up in and around 7 years. And will we miss out on another opportunity going after this one deal? I thought that was a good deal. Now, how do you make sense of that? There's a very specific way that we do that. And this call is for people who have 300,000 or more ready to go, liquid, ready to invest. And we're going to go over what that looks like for you guys specifically, whether you have 300, 400, 500, 800,000, 700,000, whatever. Like, but we go over this because as an insider, you need to know what makes sense for you. How do you make sense of your investment, right? I talk about it a lot, but on the calls, I go over it specifically, and you get to ask, which is the next thing, you get to ask your questions. That's an A, right? Most people don't even know what to ask. But if you're an insider and you're constantly hearing the questions. They're going to be the same questions over and over again, but they're just going to be from your perspective. The main, like you should be asking, hey, why do this with you versus on my own? Can I invest through my IRA? Should I set up my own LLC and invest, or could I just invest as an individual? We have a trust. Can we invest through our trust? Those are questions you should be asking. Why this deal and not the last deal? Does the debt market seem like it's going to play out on this deal, and how does that going to affect us? If you had to raise all of the money for the deal and buy the deal all cash, when would you go to the debt market to get financing on the deal? You wouldn't refinance. It would be financing because there's no financing on it if we paid all cash. And what would that look like? Will our cash flow go up or down at that point? Right? How much cash are we going to make? Like all of that stuff is valuable. That's why you guys got to be on these calls. And if you want to get on that call, go to bell-capital.com/300K. Just 300 and then K. That's showing that you have 300,000 or more to invest. And go ahead and register. You'll get the link so far as our Zoom link, and all the details about the dates are going to happen. But as we go on these things, I want you to start thinking like an institution. When you start thinking like a wealthy institution, you have this information. Hey, what's going on in the market? The specific market of the assets and the deals that you're looking at, not just from a macro level, the city, the state, the country, and then all of a sudden you start getting into the neighborhoods, the county, the location of that property. What's around that property, the multi-million dollars worth of development and other entertainment and other amenities around these properties. Then you also know, like, hey, is this a good investment for me and my money? Can we wait 7 to 10 years on a hold? What will that look like at the beginning, the middle, and the end? What can I expect as it relates to the target returns? And then you're able to answer your questions to me, not to a group of other people. It's not like you're going to ever get to sit down and Barry Sternlicht or Steve Schwarzman from Blackstone is going to give you an answer to why they make some investment decisions. They aren't doing that. They're not going to go through that. That's why I like doing these calls, because I get to talk to you guys specifically. You're going to be my partners, right? So if you want to partner with somebody, you definitely want to talk to the guy that's out there in the trenches every day making the decisions and having the relationships that I have with some of these brokers that took me years to develop with these guys, So, if you're ever going to start thinking and investing and playing this investment game like an institutional investor, which is what you should be thinking like, that's how I think. Bell Capital will eventually become an institution. It will. We're going to have institutional assets. We're going to become an institutional investor. Me as Victor will eventually fade into the distance 50 to 100 years from now, and Bell Capital will still be going with you and you guys' investments earlier on in the game. That's my goal. But you can't do that unless you start thinking that way. If you start thinking like a banker, thinking like an investment, like an investment or institutional investor, and you start learning what these guys sit in these conference rooms, these big, wealthy, elite people sit, the top 1% sit and they listen to, then you can start thinking that way and start making your investment activities that way. All right. So that's what I want to do for you guys. We are having that call. I want to have you there. I'll put the link in the bottom in the description of this, as well as I'll be able to share that with you. But if you want, go to bell-capital.com/300K, register, and you will get the link for the call. If you're watching this way in the future, great. Register for that. And at some point, we're always going to have these calls. I have these calls once a month, and we're going to start having them a lot sooner because we're having a heavy push. There's a massive correction happening. It's already underway, and we're going to be taking advantage of it over the next 18 to 24 months. And if you want to make a move with us, this will be the time to start getting your money ready, taking a look at what we're doing, going through the paperwork, registering on the site, and start getting involved with us now. Now's the time. All right. So I hope that helps, but I'm looking forward to having you guys. Again, go to bell-capital.com/300K. We're going to be having that call, and we're going to go over all those things I talk about, a market update, deals we look at, why we look at them, why we like them, why we don't, how to make sense. Like, ultimately, I'm always trying to make sense of it. It's my money too, right? I'm going to be in the deals. We have a company to manage those deals and oversee these assets for a long period of time. So it needs to make sense that we need to be there. So the assets got to be great. The location's got to be great. And the returns have to be great for my partners, which would be you guys, if you're going to be involved. And last but not least, we're going to have the Q&A. I'll be there for as long as you need me to. I'm going to answer all your questions, man. I'm just a normal, simple person. So when I take a look at a deal, I'm just like, one, how do we not lose money? How do we continue to make money? And how do we weather any economic storm between now, the 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, that's always the goal, right? I'm extremely conservative and I'm extremely disciplined with my assets and money. And if you're my partner, you're going to experience that with us as well. So again, looking forward to seeing you guys on the call. Make sure you register bell-capital.com/300K. That's bell-capital.com/300K. And I will see you on the call. Let's go. Boom.